So the last time we were doing the past tense, right? Which denotes that an action that happened in the past. All right. So this is the broad classification. Yes, the detailed classification of tenses. And you can see that we have done four types of present tenses, that is simple present, present continuous, present perfect, and present perfect continuous tense. And we have also done the first two types of past tenses. Okay, wait, I have to admit. Okay, so now we did the first two types, the past simple tense and the past continuous tense. So today we will do the two underlined ones, the past perfect tense and the past perfect continuous tense. All right. So now we can proceed with our class. Now you see that the form that the past perfect tense takes is had plus the third form of the verb. So now we start with the uses. So the first use of past perfect tense is that it is used to talk about an action that happened before another action in the past. So now they are saying that two actions happened in the past, and both happened in the past, but one happened before the other. It is natural that one will happen first and the other will happen afterwards, but both of them happened in the past. For example, I had read the novel before I watched the film. So now in this case, you see that both the actions happened in the past. First action is reading of the novel, and the second action is watching of the film. So both these actions happened in the past, but the first action is watching the reading the novel, right? Because it was read first, then the second action came of watching the film. So the first action is taking the past perfect tense form, and we use had read, and then the action that followed it is written in the past simple, right? Now if you see the second example, after I had left home it started to rain. Isha, stop yawning. So in this case also, you see that two actions are happening in the past, right? First activity is leaving home, right? And the second activity is rain starting. So now in this case also, you see that first the person left the home and then the second action started, which was rain. So in this case also, the first action is taking the form of past perfect tense, and we use after I had left home, and then we use the past simple for the second action that came afterwards, that is it started to rain. So it is taking the past simple form. Okay, now if you see the third example, when we arrived at the station the train had left. So in this case also, you are seeing that two actions are happening. We arriving at the station, and the second act is the train leaving the station. But what happened first? First the train left the station, then we arrived at the station, right? So the first act was train leaving the station, so we are using the train had left, right? We are using the past perfect form with the first act that happened, and then we are using the past simple arrived for our arrival at the station. Okay, now the second usage of the past perfect tense. It is also used for imaginary things in the past. So for example, if we start imagining things that could have happened in the past, then we use this form of tense. For example, if I had known that you were ill, I would have helped you. So now in this case, I am saying that I am imagining basically that if I had the knowledge of your illness, I would have helped you. So now I am imagining a thing of the past. It never actually happened. I am just imagining a thing of the past, and I'm saying that if I had known, I would have helped you. Yes. Then in the second example also, if you see, if she had studied harder, she would have passed the exams. So now in this case also, you see that we are imagining a situation that if she had studied harder, she actually did not study hard, So we are just imagining that if she had studied harder, she would have passed the exams. So it means that she must have failed in the examinations because she did not study harder. So we are imagining in the situation of the past that if she had studied harder, she would have passed the exams. So now what is the happening first? Her act of studying harder. So we are using the past perfect tense first, and then her passing would have come subsequent to her act of studying hard. So it is taking the simple past form. Okay. Now we will see a comparison between the simple past and the past perfect tense where they are used. So it is said that while both the past simple and the past perfect tense are used to talk about things that happened in the the past perfect is used to describe an action that happened before another action. So the past perfect tense basically compares two actions of the past, that which action happened first and which action happened later on. So when we mention two actions of the past, then in the same sentence, then we use the past perfect tense and the action that happened, right? And when we want to report just a simple action of the past, then we use the past simple tense. You will clear your doubts from the example. Anuradha went out to the market. Here we are simply reporting an action that happened in the past, that Anuradha went out to the market. But in the second example, Anuradha had gone out to the market but came back soon as it started raining. So now in the second example, you see that two actions are going on. In the first one, only one action was going on, and so we use the past simple form. But now here, two actions are happening. And what are those actions? Anuradha going to the market, and the second action is the rain starting, right? Two actions are happening. And which action happened first? Anuradha going out to the market was the first action, and then it was followed by the rain starting. So now we will say that Anuradha had gone out to the market. So we are using the past perfect tense for the action that happened in the past first, and then the action that happened subsequent to it, we are using came, the past simple form of tense. All right, so you can understand that what is the use of past simple. Past simple is just focusing on an act that happened, and we are reporting that such and such act happened in the past. But the past perfect tense is comparing two actions that happened in the past, which one happened first and which one happened later on. Okay. Now we come to the past perfect continuous tense. So the form it takes is had plus been plus verb and plus ing attached. So it is used to talk about an action that started at a definite time in the past and continued up to that point and was in progress at that moment, or has had very recently finished. So now you see that in the continuous case, past perfect continuous, they are saying that an action started first of all at a definite time in the past. So this is the first thing, and then it continued up to that point. So that point here means when we are talking about that action, right? The point that is mentioned in the sentence, that up that point of time we are talking about, if that action that started at a definite time and that action is going on to that point that we are discussing, or it was in progress or just had very recently finished, it means that it had just finished when we were talking about that. All right, then we are going to use the past perfect continuous tense. For example, Della was upset when she met us. So when she met us is that point, and because it had been raining is the continuous action that started, and all day over here is the definite time when that continuous action started, and it is continuing up to that point. Which point? When she met us. Uh, so Della was upset when she met us because it had been raining all day and she had missed her football practice. So you are getting the point that action started since the morning because they are saying all day. So from the morning, it has been continuously raining and it has continued up to that point. Which point? When she met us. And then they are further reporting that she is upset because of that. Okay. Now see the next sentence. She was very sleepy when we met her because she had been keeping awake the previous night. So in this example, if you see that the action has stopped, it is not continuing when we met her, but it had very recently finished. Yes. So this is an example of the very recently finished action, because we are meeting her in the morning and she was feeling very sleepy. Why? Because she had been keeping awake the previous night. So we know the definite time also when she was keeping awake, and that action has just very recently finished because we are meeting her just in the morning. All right. So this is the only use we have for the past perfect continuous tense. So now we need to solve this exercise. Okay, so Brajendra and Ayam are raising their hands. Pranjal also. All right. Meenakshi. So
Excuse me, sir.
yes, ma'am.
Sir, sorry to interrupt. Please put.
Tanmay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can start with the first one.
He was tired because he was watching television all night.
Spell it with the past perfect continuous form. Was watching is the past continuous form of tense. Yes.
He was tired because he had watching television all night.
He had been watching. I just told you the form that past perfect continuous tense takes. It's had plus been plus verb plus the ing attached, right? So he had been watching. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here we are using the past perfect continuous because we are also seeing that the focus is a lot on the duration of the time period. So if the duration of time period is highlighted a bit more, we tend to use the continuous tense, right? And the action has just stopped also very recently because he was tired of watching television all night and we met him the other day and he was tired. Okay. So we are using the ing form over here. Pranjal, you want to answer the second one?
Yes, sir. Good morning, teacher.
Good morning.
Sir, the answer of second one will be
Yes.
he had repaired the mobile phone for an hour when you arrived.
If you see
Sir,
actually what they are trying to mean over here is, now that he had been repairing the mobile phone for an hour because the action was continuously going on when you arrived. Are you seeing it? He had
yes,
been
sir.
repaired. Yes, because the act was going on for an hour and it was continuing up to that time when this person arrived. So it is more appropriate if we use he had been repairing. Okay, because the sentence is giving a sense that the person was continuously repairing the mobile phone when the second person arrived. Okay.
Yes,
I
sir.
am. Acha, Brajendra, you want to answer? Brajendra,
Muhammad Fadil, mute yourself.
I think then we can ask. Ma'am, you please ask someone else to answer.
I am Shukla, give the answer.
Good morning, teachers.
Good morning.
had you been learning English before you moved to England?
Okay. Can you tell me why?
Sir, because the action in the is happening in the past and continued up to a point and end.
Okay. So, but they are saying before you move to England. So here they are just asking the simple question that had you learned English before you moved to England? So how can you say that the action was continuing up to the second action that he moved to England? How are you making that out from this sentence? They are just asking that have you learned English before you moved to England? Right? They are just checking that whether he knew of English or not before he moved to England. Yes. So
Yes, sir.
yes. So here there is nowhere any implication. That, nowhere it is being implied over here that the action was continuously going on up to the point of second activity or has very recently finished. Right. So we can't make that out from here. So we will simply use had you learned, right? Okay. Now, Brajen, do you want to answer this one?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, the answer will be he had wrote 3 novels before that by the time he turned.
He had?
Wrote.
Oh, no, no, no. I told you that the form that past perfect tense takes is had plus the third form of the verb, right? And wrote is the second form. Do you know that? It's write, wrote,
Yes,
and
sir.
then written. Yes? Write is
Yes,
the
sir.
first form, wrote is the second form, and written is the third form. Correct? So in the past perfect tense, we always use the third form of the verb with had. All right. So what will be the answer? Now you tell me.
Sir, he had written 3 novels by the time he turned.
Yes, yes. He had written. And why are we saying that? Because two actions have happened over here. The writing of the 3 novels and him turning 28, right? So what happened first? The 3 novels were completed before and then he turned 28. So we are using the had written, the past perfect form for the 3 novels, and him turning 28 is we just use turned, which is the past simple form of tense, right? Okay. Now let's see who can answer this one. Om K. Sarvani, you want to answer?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
If we had gone by taxi, we would not have been late.
Okay, you are correct, but can you tell me the reason? Om, can you provide a reason also? If you see, this is an imaginary action we are talking about of the past. Yes,
Yes, sir.
we are just wishing or imagining that such a thing should have happened in the past. It didn't actually happen, but we are just imagining that if we had gone by taxi, we wouldn't have been late. So the past perfect tense is used when we try to imagine things about the past. Okay. Okay then. Ma'am, please ask some other student now.
Okay, so Siddhi Kesarwani give the answer. Why have you kept your video off? Siddhi,
Good morning, teacher.
morning give the answer.
It rained continuously for hours.
Yes, Siddhi, I can't hear. What are you saying?
Be a bit louder.
It rained continuously for an hour.
No, it's a question, Siddhi. What are you doing? Rishik, you answer. I think she is not able to answer.
Sir, the answer is it raining continuously for hours?
It is already present, Rishik. What will you use before it? The blanks before it. What will you use in
Sir,
that?
had.
Had. Yes. Now you are correct. So after that, had it?
Had it raining.
No, had
Rained.
it been raining?
Okay,
You
sir.
still don't remember the past perfect continuous form? Had it been raining continuously for hours? So now, since we are talking about the continuity that the action is going on, so we are using the past perfect continuous form. Otherwise, we could have also used the past perfect tense, right? And the form is had plus been plus verb, that is rain, and the ing. So this is the structure of past perfect continuous tense. Okay, it will be had been raining, had been repairing, had been watching. Okay, so this is the structure of past perfect continuous tense. All right. So now we move on to the next slide. Okay, so Tanisha, you want to answer this one? The first.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
He had read before entered.
She had what?
She had been reading before entered.
Okay, it can be. She had been reading before you entered. All right. So why we are saying so? Because her reading was going on before this person entered. So she might just have finished it just before, right? Because we say that an action continued up to that point, or it had very recently finished. So her reading should have very recently finished before this person entered. Okay. And we can also use she had read also, because here also two actions of the past are happening, and the first action was her reading and the second action was another person entering. So we could also have said that she had read before you entered, but that would mean that she had read and then some time would have passed and then this person would have entered. But if we say she had been reading, then it means that the activity had very recently finished or it had continued up to that point. So we just need to understand that what we are trying to say. If we are trying to say that the activity had just very recently finished or it was continuing up to that point when the second action happened.
Zahra, mute.
Okay, now we move on to the next one. Sure, you want to answer this one? Sure, I can't hear. Yes.
Sir, he had not informed me about his accident.
He
Had not
yes
informed.
yes correct. He had not informed. And why are we using had not informed? Because two actions happened in the past. First one was not informing about the accident, and the second was the person knowing about that accident. So here the second thing is invisible, but we can imply that the person who is making this statement, now he has got the knowledge that such a such act happened, So he is saying that the person who met the accident had not informed him, and what happened later on, that this person who is making this statement got the knowledge that accident happened. Correct? So the second case, that the person got the knowledge now about the accident, is implied in this sentence. So you can't see the other act that happened in the sentence. All right. Okay. Now who will answer the last one? Tanmay, you want to try?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go on.
He had been living in the Coimbatore for
Coimbatore,
20
yes,
years.
for 20 years
For-
when he had an accident. Okay, it is correct. He
Thank you.
had been living. And why are we using had been living? Because the act was going on when he met an accident, right? Yes. When he had
Yes,
met
sir.
an accident, up to that point, the act was going on. It had not stopped. So we will use the continuous form over here and not the simple, not the past perfect form. Okay. So now this completes our chapter of the past tenses. Okay. So now I will be taking up your doubts.